This is CBC Vancouver News.
Really disappointing. They couldn't get the puck out of the corner there.
Now we were like 3-0, so I feel like we're very, very proud of how far they've come.
The Florida Panthers claim Lord Stanley's Cup, a crushing Game 7 loss for Oilers fans across the country, including here. Plus,
I just didn't have much experience working a job.
Just seeing those higher requirements, really no entry-level positions anymore.
more students than usual are struggling to land a summer job in BC this year. We examine why. Also,
this project exacerbates the very problems that were already causing species decline.
in court to fight the Delta Port expansion, environmental groups say the project threatens whales and salmon. Hello, I'm Tanya Fletcher. Thanks for joining us. Well, the Edmonton Oilers took it as far as they could go, but it's the Florida Panthers raising the Stanley Cup tonight. The final score, 2-1, a historic win for Florida. It's the Panthers' first ever championship win for the franchise. Panthers captain Alexander Barkov holding the cup for the first time in his career. And for the Oilers, a heartbreaking end as they shook hands and skated off the ice in crushing defeat. Oilers fans here in Vancouver also heartbroken, but proud, too, that their team made it this far.
Really disappointing. They couldn't get the puck out of the corner there. They couldn't even get a shot on net, so that was disappointing again.
And we just have to cheer for us for next year.
Well, we're super proud of them because they had one hell of a season. But you know what? You win some, you lose some. But Oilers still for life.
Super disappointed, but also very proud of how far they've gone. We ripped them off in like the first series, then the second series. Now we were like 3-0, so I feel like we're very, very proud of how far they've come.
I predict that the Vancouver Canucks or the Edmonton Oilers will win the Stanley Cup next year.
We still love them.
Okay, it's okay.
Now, some hockey fans watching here in Vancouver were Canucks fans, as you might imagine, who said they were actually happy to see the Oilers lose after Edmonton beat the Canucks to reach the finals. Well, the CBC Sam Sampson is in Florida tonight, catching up with some of the scores of Oilers fans who flew down to cheer on their team in person in Game 7.
Heartbreak in Florida. That loss that was felt in Edmonton is felt all the way here in Sunrise, Florida, with the thousands of Edmonton Oilers fans who showed up to cheer on the home team. And we spoke with fans from all across Canada who said that they just wanted to be part of potentially bringing the cup back across the border. That'll have to wait another year.
At 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon, I phoned my cousin, hooked me up with a flight, and she got me here in time for the game.
Worth it?
Oh my God, I am so proud of our boys. We might have lost, but I am so proud. I have been there for 5 playoff wins, and this is our one loss, but still so proud.
I thought we were going to bring it back after that 3-0 deficit, but
Yeah.
I love Edmonton. I love McDavid. I love everybody here.
We kind of didn't show up until the last 10 minutes. Last 10 minutes we could have really used a lucky bounce, and they just didn't go our way.
I said it all the way through the playoffs, and I don't want to put the heat on the goaltending in tough position, but, you know, that's what it came down to. That's what I felt like. It was a one-goal game. That one goal would have made the difference, right?
I'm feeling pretty devastated, but it was still history in the making. We came back from a 3-0 loss, and we did a good effort, and we had a great time here in Florida. Tons of fans here. It was a great evening overall.
All of the Oilers fans stayed right till the end, which I think is really cool. Everybody stayed and watched the cup come out, stayed for McDavid's award and everything, which I thought was cool, but it is what it is.
It's been 31 years since any Canadian team has won the Stanley Cup, and with this loss, the Oilers extend that drought. Now, for the Florida Panthers fans out there, congratulations. This is the first Stanley Cup in franchise history. It's also the first Stanley Cup for head coach Paul Maurice, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario's own. He's been a veteran NHL coach for more than 3 decades. We knew that no matter what happened here tonight, history would be made. It just wasn't in favor of the orange and blue. Sam Sampson, CBC News, Sunrise, Florida.
In other news now, as rents soar to record prices across many parts of the country, Canadians are struggling to find affordable family-size units. And that lack of rental stock is taking a toll. Yvette Brand shares one family's tragic story in search of a solution.
For Callie Ward and her 4 kids, trying to find an affordable rental has been a harrowing journey. It began a few years ago when her husband found work helping to build high-rises in Victoria, BC. The family followed right into a housing crisis.
We came to Victoria initially, and the first initial house that we got out there was $5,500. And it was just really killing us. Hey guys.
Versions of their story are playing out across Canada. Last month, average national rent costs hit record highs.
So it's not just a roof over our heads, it means so much more.
The lack of rental stock, especially family-sized, is taking a toll.
So there's enormous social cost to having this mismatch.
In some Canadian cities, affordable 3-bedroom options are almost non-existent, according to a new interactive tool from CBC News. The tool lets users input their income and browse cities to see how much affordable housing is available, according to federal data sources.
It's not a problem of
This author on housing affordability says the culprits are land use policies that limit city growth.
The time has come to recognize that poverty is more important to deal with than urban sprawl.
I felt like I was letting my children down because they don't have a room, they didn't have their own safe space. So this is a picture of him when he was...
Callie Ward and her family have found a home in Edmonton, but it came after a tragic loss. They left Victoria for a smaller community in BC, both parents working 2 jobs, but her husband suffered a back injury.
So my husband took his life due to all of the stress that we were going through. Yeah, maybe later.
Callie's family is on the move again in search of affordability.
So I was forced to move back to Alberta into another housing crisis.
Not the life they dreamed of, but together they're rebuilding a home. Yvette Brand, CBC News, Vancouver.
Well, be it bussing tables or stocking shelves, finding a summer job is getting tougher for young people in Metro Vancouver. A youth employment coordinator says requirements for entry-level jobs are higher than ever. And as Michelle Gomez is finding out, some say they were applying to dozens of jobs before finally getting hired.
Thomas Kempin was celebrating not only his high school graduation on Monday, he finally landed a summer gig after applying to 30 jobs over the past 2 years.
Just didn't have much experience working a job, so I guess they didn't consider me.
He'll be working at Superstore, relieved he can start saving up for university in the fall, but says the lengthy job search was discouraging.
And some of the times they just don't even call back or anything that you've gotten rejected. You just don't know. It's been quite difficult.
Others are still searching, like Zach McDevitt, who's home from university for the summer.
Stressful. I mean, I was hoping to make money because it's hard to balance a job and school. So I was hoping to work a lot over the summer and make a lot of money, but that's, tough when you can't find a job.
A fiercely competitive job market means young people across Vancouver are struggling to score work, according to a youth employment coordinator.
Just seeing those higher requirements, really no entry-level positions anymore, seeing that each employer is looking for at least 7 months of experience, maybe a year or 2 years for a very, a position like a stocker or in a warehouse or a cashier or something like that.
Forth says higher costs and inflation have made it harder for small businesses to hire, and automation and online commerce have diminished opportunities in the retail sector.
Youth that would have got an entry into the job market, say a few years ago, and not seeing that same opportunity for them out there.
And she says the days of walking into a business and getting hired on the spot are almost gone, as many businesses will only accept applications online.
It is very challenging for youth who are submitting a lot of applications online and getting very few responses back. And that can go on for a long time.
Ikveer Chahal secured a summer internship after applying to about 50 jobs online since September.
It's really disheartening. It definitely takes a lot of will to keep applying because eventually you're like, okay, what if I just give up? I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore.
While scoring a first job can be challenging, this new employee has a message for those going through what he did.
Just stay vigilant and keep looking. If you're getting rejected, it'll eventually come to you.
Michelle Gomez, CBC News, Vancouver.
Well, thousands more people across the province will be getting family benefit checks this summer, and more will also receive a higher amount. Starting mid-July, another 66,000 families with children will receive the money through monthly bank deposits or mailed checks. And a one-year bonus has been added to the payments, and it means families will get, on average, $445 more than they did last year. Well, 4 environmental groups are in court challenging the approval of the Roberts Bank terminal expansion. They say the project, set to be built in Delta, will threaten wildlife, including southern resident killer whales and salmon. Michelle Gassoub has that story.
South of Vancouver lies critical bird habitat, a stone's throw from a container port terminal. Today, 4 environmental groups are in court challenging the approval of a major expansion, warning of devastating impacts to wildlife.
What the independent panel found and subsequent scientific assessment has confirmed is that this project, if it goes ahead, will push the southern residents further along their extinction trajectory, because this project exacerbates the very problems that were already causing species decline.
The project would expand the existing Roberts Bank terminal, adding a large piece of land known as Terminal 2 to the artificial peninsula on the Salish Sea. The expansion raising concern for whales, birds, and salmon, but also workers.
The port has signaled that it's going to provide hundreds of jobs during construction, but after that, there's no jobs in the terminal. It's going to be fully automated, and it will just have a ripple effect for workers across the province.
The project is on federal land and already has approval from Ottawa. The province has also issued an environmental certificate for the expansion, all while acknowledging it could be harmful.
I can't even remember how many hundreds of conditions to ensure that nature is protected, that this project goes ahead with minimal impact on the environment. It was remarkable work that was done to minimize impacts on the community.
To be exact, the federal government imposed 370 conditions to address environmental concerns. The province imposed 16, emphasizing protecting the environment must go hand in hand with staying competitive.
There can be balancing of economic and environmental considerations, but that can't extend to extinction.
The challenge will be heard in court for 4 days in the hopes of stopping the expansion in its tracks. Michelle Gassoub, CBC News, Vancouver.
Well, jail sentences have been overturned for 2 animal advocates over a protest at a Fraser Valley pig farm in 2019. Amy Serrano and Nick Schaefer were part of an animal rights group that went into the Excelsior Hog Farm in Abbotsford and staged a sit-in. They were protesting alleged animal abuse captured on a disturbing video. The BC SPCA did not recommend charges against the farm at the time. The 2 were both convicted of break-and-enter and mischief, then sentenced to 30 days in jail. An attempt to have their convictions overturned was denied earlier this year. But now the BC Court of Appeal has ruled a 120-day conditional sentence for the pair is appropriate, along with probation, but says that jail time is not necessary. About 100 people gathered in front of the Nanaimo courthouse today as part of a demonstration for women's rights. Nanaimo joined several cities across BC, Canada, and the U.S., all holding similar rallies on the 2nd anniversary of Roe v. Wade being overturned in the States. They worry the American ruling that overturned abortion rights signals an eroding of protections for women.
It's been a long journey from getting personhood to getting a vote, to getting the right to have your own credit card in your own bank account, to being able to access an abortion when you need one, to being able to be a professional and to be the breadwinner in a family often. I don't want to see any of that be rolled back.
The event was billed as a women's strike. Organizers there say they're hoping to see more organization and connection from the event. We have new CBC News analysis of federal data on the temporary foreign worker program. As we find out, it shows a dramatic jump in the program's use over the past few years.
Federal data shows that last year, Canadian employers were approved to fill about 240,000 jobs with temporary foreign workers. That's more than twice the number of approvals they got 5 years ago in 2018. The gains happen across a wide variety of jobs in different industries. Across the economy, there were major gains in jobs ranging from food counter attendants to administrative assistants to construction laborers. Now, it's important to point out this data is about the number of workers that businesses have been approved to hire. It doesn't directly translate to the number of temporary foreign workers who are in Canada, but it does show that businesses have been moving in big numbers to make use of the program. Part of why they're moving to fill more jobs this way is because they can. Coming out of the pandemic, the federal government loosened some of the program's hiring restrictions to provide relief to businesses dealing with labor shortages. Some industries that were having an especially hard time finding workers, like food service and accommodation, were allowed to triple the number of low-wage workers they could hire this way. Still, some economists criticize this move.
We hear a lot about labor shortages framed as an economic problem, as like a first order economic problem, as if we don't address these labor shortages, the economy is going to somehow fall apart. But that doesn't make sense for economists. You know, for economists, labor shortage is very much an economic opportunity. It's an opportunity to incentivize businesses to try to get more out of their existing workers through investments in technology, through training, through hiring workers that are typically overlooked, like workers with disabilities.
Employment and Social Development Canada declined an interview for this story, but in a statement, a spokesperson said this was a short-term move to help businesses coming out of the pandemic, and now labor market conditions are better, it's easier to find workers locally, and so they're tightening up some of the program restrictions once again. Paula Duhacek, CBC News, Calgary.
Still ahead, we'll take you to Kamloops, where the search and rescue veterans are making toys for pets. We'll explain why after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Let's take you to Kamloops, where a volunteer with the search and rescue group there was making toys for pets out of retired rope. It's all to help support the dog handlers and raise money for the rescue team. Here's how he makes them.
What I have in my hands here is a piece of retired climbing rope, and we're going to turn it into a dog toy. Kamloops Search and Rescue have dog handlers, and those dogs need things to work with for their training. We use them as a fundraiser as well for Kamloops Search and Rescue, and a friend of mine is making them in Coquitlam as well to raise money for Coquitlam Search and Rescue. So it takes about 10 feet of rope to make one knot. Form the knot 3 times around there. And this is easy rope to work with because it's stiff. It really helps hold the shape when you're doing this part of it. And then so all I do is put a little knot on the end of the rope here. So we take that, put it inside, and then we just go backwards, making the knot snug. That's the basic ready to go. And the decision now is just how long a handle. I like to go off and wander around the back and beyond, and I have 3 boys that go out there. So I just want to do what I can to help this organization specifically and search and rescue broadly be good at what they do. And then what I'll do is I go through and tighten it as tight as I can and then pull this through really tight, and we're done. This is the current inventory that will be taken down to the Old Coots booth at the July 6th Farmers Market, and these will all be sold to raise money for Kamloops Search and Rescue. $20 a piece and more in production.
You're looking at a live shot of Science World right now. More sun than cloud today. We'll see just how warm we'll get this week. Your 5-day forecast is on the way up next.
So I know when I really like a song, if within the first 3 seconds, I'm already vibing to it.
Hey, I'm Rohith Joseph. Vibin' is the new show all about discovering great new songs and fresh artists from across BC and beyond.
It's not one person dictating what good music is, it's the community sharing what good music is.
Stream Vibin' on CBC Listen.
Hi, I'm Amy Bell, and here's what's in your CBC Vancouver inbox.
CBC is the proud media partner of the Squamish Nation Youth Powwow, July 5th to the 7th. The cultural event welcomes everyone to a vibrant celebration of vivid colors, rhythmic music, and a strong sense of community. Tickets at SquamishNationYouthPowwow.com. And never miss a special programming series, event, or contest. Subscribe to CBC Vancouver's e-newsletter and keep connected with us.
The weather update is brought to you by Direct Buy Furnace. To cool and clean the air in your home, call Direct Buy Furnace. Installing Trane, the most reliable heating and cooling brand.
And time for a look at the weather. Let's bring in Riley Lachak to see what the long-range forecast has in store. Riley?
Well, Tanya, I thought I'd start tonight with a look at fire danger because we do have a bit of a range of conditions really across the province. So through the interior, looking at some of those orange and red signifying that high to a very high fire risk. And we will see this change as we get into the next few days, at least by the midweek, because we are looking at some rain moving through parts of the province, which I'll time out for you. Quick look at your afternoon highs, 24s, 25s to the interior, up to 20 at YVR this afternoon, and a bit cooler to the north where we did see quite a bit of rain rolling through the day today. Now, as we start the day on Tuesday, we do have a little bit of high-level cloud across parts of the south coast. That does change as we get later into the day on Tuesday, starting Wednesday with the first bands of a low-pressure system that will push through parts of the province, really through the central coast, central part of the island into central mainland parts of British Columbia. But we could see some scattered showers or some light rain even as we get through later Wednesday into Thursday for Metro Vancouver into the sort of south coast region. In terms of rainfall to come over the next few days here, really looking at about 10 to 15 millimeters to that central part of the province. Here on the south coast, about 3 to 5 millimeters or so. If that, again, most of this will be through sort of the central coast region and the central parts of the island. Looking at your forecast, overnight temperatures now 14 for both Kelowna and Kamloops. Pretty seasonal for this time of the year along the south coast, 11 in Fort St. John. And we're looking at sunnier conditions as we get through the day on Tuesday, and even close to that 30 mark through the interior as we get through the day on Tuesday. 29 in Kelowna tomorrow. Pretty seasonal for the south coast. 21 in Bella Coola under a mainly cloudy sky tomorrow. Good chance we could see some rain rolling through into the early part of Thursday as well. 17 degrees. And if you're hoping for sun for the long weekend, well, I have a bit of it for you on Saturday. Could get up to 26 inland. Otherwise, we're looking at cool conditions and good chance we could see some showers, Tanya, as we get through the later part of the weekend.
All right. Thank you so much, Riley. And that is your late news for this Monday, June 24th. For news anytime, anywhere, download the free CBC News app. You can always find us online. We're at cbc.ca/BC. Your next local newscast is on the early edition. That's on CBC Radio 1, starting tomorrow morning at 5. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.